Welcome to another edition of The Sales Life. I'm Marsh, Buice, and the sales life is just not for those in the sales profession. It's for those who are building the lifelong skill set of sales, because we're all selling our way through life. Today's episode, man, we're going to talk about I'm behind. And many times, man, you find yourself frustrated in life because you're looking at someone else's current situation, how far away they are, how good they're doing, and how bad you're doing, and you're saying, oh, I'm behind. And you think it's too late. And it's not. You're not behind. It's just the current score. How many times have you said, I'm behind? How many times have you said, oh my God, I'm behind? You look at where someone else is personally or professionally, you say, I'm behind. I'll never catch them. And when you say that, normally what happens is either you're erratic in your moves, so you do something, you overcorrect way too much, you get burned out, and eventually you quit. What's the use? Too old. It's too late. I'll never catch him. You quit. Nothing good comes back to you when you sit there and say, I'm behind. Because when you say I'm behind, man, what that does is it reinforces exactly what you think, which is deficiency, which is losing. Question is, what are you going to do? Because see, the lead is only temporary as long as you make it so. It's only when you quit. It's only when you do nothing is when you stay behind. I had a salesperson the other day, man, or last month. I was talking to him, man. He was freaking out because one of the other salespeople started moving ahead. The other salesperson, he had some good fortune, man. Deals were coming to him, and this guy, it wasn't coming so easy. And he said, oh my God, I'm not going to catch up, man. I'm going to lose for the month, man. I'm behind. I said, man, you're right. If that's what you're focused on, what are you going to do? Because the lead is only temporary as long as you make it so. You got to start working that process. Slow down. You're not behind. Because the score is only temporary. That's just the current score. What are you doing now to lessen that? And dude, I did that with the podcast. When I was, for years, I thought about coming out with the podcast, and then I saw all these guys, episode number 500, episode number 1220, that years they had some of the most notable people on their podcast, and I said, man, what's the use, man? I'm 46 years old. Why even start? I'm too far behind. I did that. And then one day I just went to work. I just put it out there. But here's the interesting thing is even though somebody's ahead of you right now, the minute you make that decision and you take action, you just lessen the lead. The score's not as bad as it once was. Because they're only moving ahead if you're staying right here. But if I'm doing something to move ahead, then even if they move ahead, even if they've got that momentum, I'm slowly catching them. Slowly. Kobe Bryant, one of the best in the world, one of the best NBA players in the world. He's known for the way he works out. And they said, man, why do you train so hard? And he cut him off and he said, it's like this. He said, when you're going to be best in the world, normally we all know that you got to train. And he said, normally what most athletes do is they train from 10 to 12. They rest during the day. They go home. They're with their family, and they come back and they work out from 6 to 8. And then they go home. They sleep. They get up. They do it all over again. And he said that's what makes you one of the best in the world. That kind of training. He said, but my days start earlier. He said, so what I do is I get up and I'm on the court at 4. I work out from 4 to 6, and then I come back, I rest, and then I come back and work out from 9 to 12. And then I rest and I come back and work 2 to 4. And then I come back and work 7 to 9. 2 to 1. And he said, what happens is, because I'm putting in twice the effort, I'm slowly catching them. I'm training more than they are. But see, it's important to note, man, you don't work in slabs, you work in chunks. See, many times what happens is people overcorrect. And they overcorrect and they say, oh, I'm going to work for hours at a time, and you can't do it. You can't sustain it. What can you sustain? You can sustain chunks. 4 to 6, 9 to 12, 2 to 4, 7 to 9, chunks. And Kobe said, as you do that and you keep doing that day after day after day, the lead starts to separate. And he said by year 5, when they do take notice, I'm already so far ahead they can't even catch me. He said even if they amp up their game, it's too late. Because over the years, for a 5-year period and continuing on, I'm working out twice as much as they are. See, the lead is only temporary if you make it so. So you've got to find your pockets of time. Like for me in the mornings, I work a full-time job. How can I work on the podcast? How can I work on the videos early in the morning? And if I do that 2 hours every single day, 14 hours a week, almost 60 hours a month, over time, I'll start to separate. I start gaining. And one day, the separation will be so large, they won't even be able to catch me. You're not behind, man. You're not behind as long as you're doing something to help move yourself forward. Find the pockets of time, whether it's early in the morning, whether it's on your lunch break, and then another time right after you get off, and another time, another 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes before you go to sleep. You're not behind. That's just the current score. And what are you going to do to lessen it? Have an amazing day. Stay in the sales line.